Hello, everybody. I'm here. Sorry for being a few minutes late. Hi, everybody. Hi, Robin, Leslie, and Becky. Thanks for stopping in. Hi, those of you that are in YouTube land and Facebook land. Um, like I said, I'm a little bit late. Sorry about it. My daughter had surgery today, and she's here. So we had a little slight emergency just before time to go on that I had to help her with, and so that's what kind of got me a few minutes late. I had just poured my glass of wine, was on my way in here when she said she felt something wet, and so we went to check, and she was bleeding. So her bandage and stuff had come undone. And so anyway, I got her situated, and I'll get her all patched up later on. But she's fine. She's not in any pain. It was just like I said, the bandage came off, and heaven only knows why they bandaged it the way they did. It was outpatient surgery. You know, this outpatient surgery stuff is not cool. I don't like it. I hate this newfangled dangle stuff the way they do with this outpatient surgery. I've had surgery and people have tried to kick me out the day of, and I was like, I ain't having it. I'm not going. But anyway, so yeah, she's okay. And I'm glad I convinced her to come over here and not go home because she lives alone. And you know, being a nurse and worked on the surgical floor, I told her I do not care what these doctors tell you. They're going to always tell you, oh, it's no big deal. Everything will be fine. Piece of cake, all of that stuff. They're not the one having the surgery. And it's just a crock. That's all it is. It's just a crock. So don't let people convince you that it is not something that is serious. Anytime, I don't care what kind of surgery it is, anytime you have some kind of surgery, it is going to be something that needs to be looked after and tend to, and not just send somebody home and just say, okay, it's going to be okay, especially if they don't have someone to take care of them. So like I said, I did convince her to come over here and stay a few days because she has stairs. She has to go upstairs to her bedroom and downstairs to the kitchen. And the bathroom's upstairs. There's no bathroom downstairs in her house. So I said, "Girl, please, you can't maneuver that because she had surgery on her knee, and up and down those steps and all that kind of stuff was not going to work for her. So anyway, I'm glad that she's here, and I will take care. She's stable. We got everything stabled, and she'll be fine until we're done. And she told me to tell everybody that she's sorry, but that's okay. So hi, uh, Evelyn, how you doing? And hi, Ann, how are you? And who else? So I think that and Leslie, yes, she is okay. And Robin, yes, and no, that's not good. It's not good. If she needs you, please attend to her. We can meet another time. No, we're good. We're good. Um, like I said, she's okay. She's not in any distress. So that part is fine. Because if that was the case, I would have told you guys and just said that we have to cut it off. But she's okay. She's just a little uh, disappointed that she started bleeding and so forth and so on, and so she was resting pretty good, and I think it woke her up. She said she felt something wet, and I think it woke her up. And luckily, I'm a nurse. I told her, I said, I got steri strips, I got gauze. I got all that stuff. I got tape and stuff, and I wrap stuff up for a temporary fix until later on, and then I'll go in there and do my little nursey stuff and get her all settled. So anyway, hi Val, how you doing? Hi Joyce, how are you? And hi Marissa, how are you? I was just telling people that I was a little bit late because my daughter had surgery today, and she's here with me tonight. And we had a little incident, and I got on here a little late, but that's okay. She's fine. So it is now 10 minutes after the hour because I was about 5 minutes late. And tonight is conversation is about machine maintenance. And I thought it would be a good idea because I know there's a lot of people that do watch that are relatively new with as far as embroidery is concerned. Now I know all of you guys know the ins and outs, so it's not so much about um, showing you guys or teaching you guys or telling you guys about how to do maintenance on your machine. Or and then again, I'm not going to make that assumption because we all can learn, and we're constantly learning all the time. And I have seen, believe it or not, people talk about maintenance on their machine and not give correct information, which kind of aggravates me a little bit because the basic information is in the operator's manual, and all you have to do is open it up and look at it. And people will say things or show you things or talk about things that is not absolutely correct. And I know what I did because I knew I had to take her for surgery today, and I knew that I would be, gone most of the day, late getting back, and not really having a whole lot of time to do any uh, uh, pre-game prep, as they say, which I usually do stuff several days ahead of time anyway. So what I did yesterday is made a video of me actually doing maintenance on my machine because I didn't want to just talk about it. I wanted to show uh, how to do certain things. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I've done. And Leslie, you say you have changed 10 needles today and oiled your machine. Yay! Did you oil your felt pads on your needle bar? Did you do that? Hopefully you did. A lot of people don't know about that. I didn't know about that when I first got my machine. I had my machine for a little while before I knew about that. So, uh, we always don't know everything that we're supposed to do. We kind of go into it. And yes, and maintenance is extremely important because that's how you keep your machine alive. That is like a car. You have to make sure that you're doing what's correct. So what I'm going to do is like 3 segments, and I know I'm a little wordy. So what I want you to do is watch the video. I'll do a segment, and we can talk. You can ask questions. I'm looking at the I'm looking at your chat. So if you have any questions or anything, I can definitely answer that question for you, even if I have to pause the video, and so forth and so on. And so, Leslie, you say, yes, I did that too, the felt pads on the needle bar. You watched Jeanette's video tutorial. Great. So you already know how to do that. And that's great that you have done that. And I looked at her video as well. And like I said, I looked at several other videos because I wanted to see what people were saying. And like I said, I did see a few of them that weren't quite um, correct. I guess that's the best way to put it. So let me go ahead and put this first one up. Carol, hi Carol, how are you? And you say, I am part of another Facebook community that reminds us once a month to do our maintenance. Oh, that is so great. That is so great to do that because it's important to do it. So here we go with the first part. machine, your investment that you have made. Let me get some sound on here going. So I'm cleaning it off, rubbing it off. I thought I was talking. I don't know why I'm not talking right here, but I know I'm talking on here. And we got the sound going. So let me move it up further. Oh, I see what's going on. Area. And can be causing you issues. So therefore you start off with the bobbin area. So it is recommended, as you know, to oil your bobbin area every day that you use your machine. Every day when you start using your machine, you need to oil your bobbin area. So I always take my bobbin out. I use magnetic bobbin, so sometimes you have to manipulate it to get the bobbin out. When you put it back in, you're going to put it in with the magnetic part towards the bobbin. So I'm going to take that out and set it aside because I need to clean out my bobbin case. Now this is a generic case, but it works. It's not the one that came with the machine, but it does work. It's no issue. So that's the first thing I do. And this is daily. So I have a little brush. It's kind of dirty, but I always start off with the brush, brushing all up in here and getting as much lint out as I see. I go up in here and I brush. And if you do this daily, you will not have a lot of lint and thread accumulated unless you've done some big jobs. So go in there and clean it up real good. Now, there are different brushes you can use. Now, this is a set of brush that came from Harbor Freight that Eve from the Baby Booties recommended. And they come in different sizes where you can actually get into some of these crevices and clean. I don't use these a lot, but they are useful as far as getting back up in here and being able to pull lint and threads and what have you out. But just make sure that you're careful with it. Um, Another thing that I'll use is I have a vacuum. Don't want to get it too close to the camera, but I want you to see it. Now, it is a vacuum that you use on a computer, but it does work. And I just turn it on. And I'll go in there. Now, the one thing that I do want to highly stress, and I know it's tempting to do, and that is do not use canned air. Canned air is not good for your machine. Now, when I first started, I used canned air because it made sense to me to get in there and blow all of this stuff out. But it is highly recommended that you do not use canned air because canned air forces the lint further into the machine and can get up into mechanisms that could cause a lot of problems. So I do this, like I said, on a daily basis before I do my stitching. Now, I have even used my, and then you have these little brushes that came with the machine. These two little brushes. This one that has the little pick at the end where you probably can get and pick some things out if you need to. Sometimes thread gets caught in here. I also will take a tweezer if I see a thread or something hanging, which I don't, and pull it out. So those are some things you can use. And you can definitely use these little brushes to clean your bobbin, because you need to do that as well. Clean your bobbin. Now, I'll vacuum the bobbin. I'll use a brush on the bobbin, and I will use a business card on a bobbin. If you get a thin business card, not a credit card, a business card, and go up in here underneath where the screw is, and go towards the front and push out underneath and push out. There may be some lint caught in there, and that's one way of getting it out. Now, sometimes you do need to change your bobbin case. That's what happened to me. I definitely needed to change my bobbin case, so I bought some generic ones. I talked to a brother technician, and he said it didn't matter whether they were generic or brother. So I bought some generic ones off of Amazon, and they have been working just fine. So now I put my bobbin thread back in, and you thread it the same way. You go around, go through that little slit, and up here, and you pull it. And it is suggested that you have it out at least 3 inches when you're starting. Now, before I do that, I need to oil my machine, but I can't oil it right now because the machine is off. And the reason it's off is because I'm going to take the needle plate off, and I'm going to show you the knife. Now, this screwdriver came with the machine, and you have a flat end on this end, and you have your Phillips screwdriver on this end. I don't like using this one. I do not like using this screwdriver. I'm left-handed. It is just awkward for me. So my husband got me this offset screwdriver, and this is what I use. So make sure you keep your drawer closed when you're manipulating with this, and the reason being, some kind of way I was able to bump this, and you guys may have noticed this on some of my videos where there's blue tape on here where I had to tape it up. I bumped this and knocked it off. Actually, I was doing some jeans, I believe it was, and I guess it just pushed it off or whatever. And I lost the pin, couldn't find it, couldn't put this back on. So when I took it in for maintenance, the guy was able to fix it, and it was no charge. It was no problem. I was afraid I had really made a mess. But with your offset, you put the screwdriver in here, and you offset it to the direction that you want it to go in, and then you start screwing. Now, it's a way to actually do it better than what I do, and I know that because it's you go like this and it screws. I haven't quite gotten that down yet, so I just twirl mine around, and it works for me. So once you do that to a certain degree, about 3 or 4 twirls, then you're really able to get the screw out with your hand, because you don't want to have it in there so tight that you can't get it out. Now, don't lose your screws. Even though there are some extra screws in your kit, Can you see the screw? Okay, there you go. There's the screw. I have a roll of tape down on my tray, and what I do, I have the roll of tape sitting, and I stick the screw inside of that opening so it's not going to roll off of my table. And that's the way I keep up with my screw until I'm ready to put it back on. So then you do the other one the exact same way. You just pretty much twirl it 3 or 4 times until you get it loose and coming up. Once you get it coming up high enough, then you can literally take your fingers and unscrew it. And it's really easy to do with your hand. A lot easier than trying to do it with a screwdriver. So I just screw that off. And once you get it all screwed off, you do the exact same thing. Take it, stick it inside of there, and then you take your needle plate off. Now when you take your needle plate off, you're going to also have this spacer that comes with it. Don't lose it. It's very important. It's made out of plastic, so it's fragile, but don't lose it. So while I have this off, I always clean my plate off in the inside because you're going to have lint and everything. So I brush that, brush it real good, set it down. I do the same thing for the spacer. I just brush it off real good. So now I have this in here. So I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but there's a big piece of red thread right here that I just pulled up out of there. So you get rid of all of this stuff that's in here. Get your little brush and just start brushing stuff out. You might need a bigger brush. I usually use this brush, and I just brush and get stuff out. Now, with the machine off, you can move this knife. This is your machine knife that cuts. Be careful, it's sharp. You can move it gently and brush under there. That is really sharp. I don't know if I cut myself or not, but I felt some pressure. No blood. So anyway, and just brush that real good. Now, if you don't clean this out often, you can get timing errors. Now I'm going to use my vacuum and vacuum where I can't literally see. So as you can see, this is pretty clean. Now I'm going to put this knife back where it belongs, push it back. Hopefully I can do this with the tweezer. There we go. Because I don't want to do it with my hands anymore. But anyway, now this is a blade too, but I don't mess with that. This can be changed if need be. And you can buy one, unscrew it, put this one here, and there's a video that shows you how to put that back. But I haven't had to do that. And if you get your machine maintained once a year like you're supposed to, then you hopefully should not have to mess with that. But it is important that you do the cleaning. And I see another piece of thread back here that I did not see before the vacuuming. And let me see if I can get that. And I did. Or did I? Yep, I got it now. Well, I dropped it. Let me brush it, see where it went. I don't know where it went. But anyway, get all the little pieces of thread out. It fell down under there. All your little pieces of thread. It's time for a new brush. I'm going to get a new brush. So anyway, now I'm ready to put this needle plate back on. So that's quick and simple, no big deal. I always keep that shut, don't want to break it off. There's only one way to put this spacer on. It only fits one way. So make sure that you put it on correctly. And once it's sitting nice and neat, then put your plate back on. Do not forget to put your spacer back on. And it's all going to sit in there nice and neat. Now you can go ahead and put the screws back in. And I always take it and hand screw it as much as possible. And you can see it got it all the way down. Then I'm going to put the next one in and hand screw it all the way down. Now I have them both screwed all the way down. So now I'm going to use the offset screwdriver and tighten it. You don't have to tighten it crazy. I only had to make like 2 little twists on it and it was tight. So it's not a big deal. And I like the offset screwdriver. So that's on there and it's tight, no big deal. So I'm done with the bobbin area, everything except for the oiling. Now I'm going to turn my machine on, now that I'm not in there anymore. Now you can clean this and everything with the machine on, you just can't mess with that knife. So if you're going to do anything with that knife, the machine has to be off. You cannot move the knife if the machine is on. So I just wanted to show you that you can move the knife and clean out from under there. So now that I have the machine turned on, as soon as it goes through its calibration setup and does its moving and everything, then I'm going to go ahead and oil it and show you the next thing that we want to do with maintaining the machine down in this area. So there are a few more things that you have to do to do your maintenance with your machine. Now, while the machine is recalibrating, let's talk about needles. And I'm going to do something with the needle bar as well. But it is recommended that you change your needles every 500 hours. If you don't have any type of breakage of thread, shredding of thread, or your needle breaks, or you notice that it is just not stitching correctly, then you might need to change your needle earlier than that. But if everything is stitching fine, then it is recommended that you change your needles every 500 hours of usage. And I'll show you how to figure that out when it's time to change it. Also, I'm not good at it, but you need to keep these bar areas here clean as well. Get that lint off of here. Get the lint off of here, off of this area here. It gets lint there. So get that off. In other words, keep your machine as lint free as possible. That is basically what's going to save your machine. Now, make sure you keep all your tools handy. I have a little tray underneath my, on my shelf here on my cart, that I keep all of my stuff that I need. I keep my box where I keep my needles and the tools that I need to change my needles. I keep that in there. And then I have a tray that I don't know if you can see it, but I'll show it to you anyway later when I move the camera, that I just keep everything else in. It's kind of like a catch-all tray. I might need to do something a little bit better with keeping my stuff, but so far that's worked as far as keeping all of my tools in there. I keep my brushes on the outside so I can get to them quickly because I use the brushes all the time. So I need to be able to use my brushes all the time. And of course I keep my needles where I can get to them quickly, and the tools that I need to change my needle. So now the machine is going to move. It has calibrated. And with that, I can go ahead and go in. You know how to get to the point where you can oil. So I've selected oiling on my LCD panel. Now there is a diagram down here. I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing to. Down in here, there's a diagram. In here, there's a diagram that shows you where to oil your needle, your bobbin. Over on this side, in that little groove, you just put a drop of oil, nothing more. I didn't see a drop. There we go. Drop of oil. Now, sometimes you can overdo it. I just take a towel and just kind of put it up under there and just kind of catch whatever might be dripping. And I have found that that has helped that from dripping onto my project. Now, you might want to run something through it first, depending upon what it is that you're going to stitch next. But I have found just putting a towel up under there to catch the dripping has helped tremendously. Now that I have oiled my machine, I can thread my put my bobbin in. Now I always hold my bobbin like this because the main thing is you want to put the bobbin in, push it in. You heard that click? You gotta get a click. If you don't get a click, it's not in there correctly. So do not use this machine until you put your bobbin in and hear that click. And it is suggested that your bobbin thread hangs out about 3 inches. So that is what I do with the bobbin area here, the arm or whatever you want to call it. It's not an arm. These are arms. I don't know what this is. So the next thing is the needle bar. Now you need to do your needle bar too. And I'm trying to remember how often to do the needle bar. Can't remember that right offhand. I'll look that up before I get off this video. Now you need to pull the needle bar as far down as it'll go. And I don't know if you can see, maybe I raise this up a little bit now since we're up a little higher. And see, your needle bar has a felt piece of felt up there, and you need to oil it. And I'm trying to see mine. Let's see that one. I don't see this one. Am I blind? There it is. I see it now. Couldn't see it. My goodness. Like, where did it go? You just drop a drop of oil onto the bar. This is dripping. A drop of oil onto the bar. Drop of oil onto the bar. Now, when you get to the point, I was able to do, I had it set on needle 2, and I was able to do needle 1, 2, and 3. I can't do 4, so now I need to move it to 4, and it's going to let me do 4, 5, 4, and 5. So now I will do 4, and I will do 5. I'm going to move it down to 5, and I should be able to do 5, 6, 5, and 6. Okay. Now move it down to 7, and then I should be able to do 7, 8, 7, and 8. And move it to 9, so I should be able to do 9 and 10. There you go. All my needle bars have been oiled. Now that I have oiled all of the needle bars, and actually you're putting the oil on a piece of felt that is on your needle bar at the top. Pull it down as far as you can get it, and you should be able to see the little white felt. Now my felt is getting dirty, so it isn't white anymore. And of course your threads are going to come out and all that kind of stuff, and you can figure out how you want to handle that. You can rethread it or whatever. I would recommend that you definitely stitch on something that you're not trying to wear or sell or whatever, to get the oil, to catch the oil before you do a project. So I'm going to rethread all of these so they'll go back. I don't want them hanging like that. But rethread all of those. I'll hoop my little 5x5, put some stabilizer in there, stitch something simple, and let it run to get the oil out. So that is oiling your machine, which is the main thing that you want to do when you're doing maintenance on your machine, is to keep it oiled. As far as the mechanism in the inside of the machine, it is recommended that that is taken care of by a licensed repair technician for your brother machine. Someone that is trained, skillfully trained to operate on your machine. Do not do a do-it-yourself situation unless you want to void your warranty. And if for some reason you screw it up, you've screwed it up and you're just out of luck. So I recommend highly, I know we want to save money, but I recommend highly that you do not do any self-maintenance in the inside of your machine unless you are a licensed repair technician. That's just my recommendation. Some people have more gumption than I have. I don't have that. I'm not messing up my machine. Now the other thing is, come on up here on top. Now I'm going to move my camera and bring it up. Now I have to admit that I am very, 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 very bad, because okay, that's the end of that part of the video. And let me say hi to Marissa and hi to Marina. How you doing? I've been looking at your comments, and those of you that have come in a little late, I'm just showing you a video. Actually, it's 3 segments, so that was number one, and it's two more to go. Still doing the same thing, just a continuation of what I was doing, and just I do apologize for the blurriness of the video. I am not a photographer. I'm not a videographer. I do the best I can. I had the camera up a little bit too close because I wanted to make sure you could see it. And it was hard for me to tell just by looking at the screen whether or not it was clear or not. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully you were able to decipher through the fog what I was talking about. Also, I do know that being blind as I am, I was putting some drops of oil on there and didn't see the drops of oil, so I probably put way too much oil on the bobbin case. It was only supposed to be a drop, and when I looked at the video, it was like 3 or 4 drops. But that again was me not being able to see the drops of the oil. And as far as the needle bar is concerned, again, it is the white felt on the needle bar, not the needle bar itself, but the white felt on the needle bar, top of it that you put the oil on. So I think those were the only things that I wanted to kind of clarify on this part of the video. So, and I thank you so much for those of you that have mentioned that this has been helpful to you and you are learning a little bit. So I am glad of that. So now let's get to part two.
Bad because I don't keep my machine covered and I have a lot of dust up here. So I'm going to have to definitely get it clean. This little vacuum is helping a lot. It got a lot got a lot of that dust up, but I didn't like go crazy with it because I didn't want to suck up my thread. So what I'm going to do one day is to unthread it, clean it up real good, and thread it back. But the thing is, it is recommended that you keep this covered. And I have to admit that, like I said, I don't keep my machine covered, therefore I have a lot of dust up here. But you can take these off. You can clean out from under there, put them back on. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to mess with my tension, and I'm sure there's a lot of people feel the same way. When you take it in for your maintenance, they have it set perfectly for your tension. You can always adjust your tension yourself for whatever you're stitching, and you should, but unless you feel comfortable doing that, I'm not going to do that unless I have to. The only time that I mess with the tension up here is if I notice there is an issue. Then I will check my tension and I will rotate it. If you rotate it clockwise, it tightens. Counterclockwise, it loosens. Make sure that your thread is completely under these tensions up here. And let me see. When I say up here, I gotta make sure you see what up here I'm talking about. When you, let me go on this end. These little clamps that your thread goes under, these little clamps that your thread goes under, make sure your thread goes under those clamps and not on the outside of it, or you're not going to get the proper tension that you're supposed to. So check that periodically, because if you're like me and you just tie off your thread and pull it through, there's times when it gets out from under there and your stitching is going to be off. Also make sure at the top, this tension up here, that tension bar, that you can't see it but you can hear it, make sure that's closed. Um, check your thread, make sure the thread is not getting caught. Now what I want to talk about before I close this out is timing error and wiper blade error. So I'm going to move the camera again. Hopefully you're not getting dizzy with the camera moving and everything. Sorry about that. Let me see where we are with the camera. Back here. With timing error, that's what we talked about, cleaning up under your needle plate. You clean up under your needle plate, that can definitely help with the timing error. 9 times out of 10, that's going to get rid of it. Your wiper blade error is when your thread isn't cutting properly and the wiper blade gets stuck. Then you're going to get that error. Don't panic. Just clip the thread so the cutting knife will go back in place and then hit OK. 99% of the time it's going to be okay. If you get the timing error, change this up. 99% of the time it's going to be okay. I have yet to have an issue where I needed to call. Matter of fact, I have never called a technician about my machine since I've had it going on 3 years. And I've had it maintain or maintenance uh, check on it once since I've had it. But I try my best to take care of my machine. I try my best to do the maintenance at all times. And so far that has worked. Now, one more thing before I go. I mentioned the 500 hours. So let me move the camera where I can show you where you can find that at.
Okay, I'm going to go to this last little part. It's not very long, and then we can talk about what we saw.
CD panel. Now, you may say, why are you here? If you look down here, if you look down here, make sure you can see where down here is. Down here at the bottom, this icon that looks like a page. I clicked on it. You go to page 1 through 11. And each page has useful information on it. So you need to read your book to find out what each page represents and what it's for. Like this page is tells you what frame is on, tells you what the grid is on your screen. Um, See, I can have that kind of grid, this kind of 1-inch grid, no grid, back to the 1-inch grid, whatever. Um, and this one, I forgot what this is. Oh, this is your color stuff here. And your embroidery thread stuff here. So all of that. Background color, you can change your background color. You can change the thumbnail background color, so forth and so on. So I'm not going to go through every page to tell you. But you got page 1, 2, 3 going all the way through 11. Look it up and see what all of these things mean. They do have meaning and it's important. So you keep scrolling through, all the way through, until you get to, I believe it's the next to the last page that you get to. Here it is, page 8. Now, page 8 tells you the bottom one before you get to your machine's ID number. The bottom one will tell you, well, actually, the bottom one will tell you how many hours that you have used your machine since the last trip time that you had. And then the top two, your trip count and then your total count. So your total count is what's important. So I'm looking at 11,331,819 stitches. 11,331,819 stitches, and it says, if I'm not mistaken, 177 hours since uh, the trip, and the total time 450. Now, what I need to do is add 500. Like if I wanted to count, if I change my needle today, 500 on top of this 450 would be 950. That's when I know I need to change my needles again. So if I changed all of my needles today, 500 on top of the 450 would mean it's time to change your needle again. Or you can do 500 on top of your total count again. That would mean change your needle. So you can give yourself a sticky somewhere, and the day that you change your needle, look at what your total time is, and then check it to see when you have 500 hours, and then change your needle. That is if you don't have any issues or anything going on, multiple projects, thread breaks, um, uh, um, shredding. I'm losing my thought on what I'm trying. Nesting, bird nesting. If you don't have any of those kinds of things, then you can go by that. So now I'm back to a regular screen. And since I mentioned bird nesting, I just want to bring up this particular tool that I have. I have the design tool kit, and this came from Dime, and it's the bird nest kit. Now you don't have to get Dime's kit. Dime's kit costs like 30 bucks, I believe, or 40 bucks, I forgot. 29 or $39. I'm thinking more $39 when I bought it. And it is a big hook and a big X-Acto knife, if you will. And it works wonder. When you get that bird nest and you can't get that thread undone, and you can't move your project, you can't move your blank, you can't get anything out, you can't do anything, this puppy here will slide up under there and cut it and not cut your blank. And this will hook on there and get under there, raise it up where you can get under there, and then dig some of that stuff out so you can get your bobbin out, because it gets so thick sometimes you can't get that bobbin out and you can't do anything with it. So I bought this when I first bought my machine, and I have used it, I have used it, I have used it, and I am definitely happy that I bought it. No regrets, worth every dime. I know some people say you can get it cheaper. Get it cheaper, whatever you want to use, but get something for bird nest. For me, this worked. Not trying to get you to spend money a dime. I'm just telling you where I got mine, and it works. I love it. So I just wanted to not so much promote the product, but promote the concept of having something that is going to help you with your bird nest. So that's all I wanted to tell you about maintenance. As far as the video is concerned, I'm going to pull out the manual and go through there and see if there's anything else that I want to talk to you tonight about maintaining your machine. And we will continue this discussion and talk a little bit about single needle machines as well.
Okay, that is it. So thanks for tolerating. But I wanted to make sure that I could show you guys what um, what I do for my machine and what they recommend. Now, there's a couple of things I do want to talk about, or clarify, or explain, or whatever. And one of the main thing is that 500 hours for the needle change. Now, I looked at a video that a gentleman that is a brother technician, repair technician person that did the made the recommendation for the 500 hours. Now, I know I spouted it and said how to find out how to do it and so forth and so on, but the more I thought about it after the fact, I realized, and to me, that didn't sound realistic. So this is what this gentleman said, and I took him for his word because he's a technician. But like I said, the more I thought about it, I'm not so sure that that is accurate information. What I do know, what I have been told, especially about changing needles, is if you run, like if you have a commercial machine, or you have a machine like most of us, some of us have, the 10 needle brother, and you are running a business or something and you are using your machine constantly day in and day out, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, you need to change your needle every day because you are using that needle a lot, or at least the needles that get used. You may not be using all 10, but if you use number 5, 6, and 8, and 4, whatever, then you need to keep a record and make sure you change those needles out. If you are having bird nesting, then you do all the cleaning, and the one thing that I do, I clean my plate, I check my bobbin, and I change my needles and check your threading first. That's the first thing that you need to do because I have found that uh, I make that last and find out that that was the problem. So check your threading because as I mentioned, when you're pulling thread through, sometimes it comes out from under that little flap and the tension gets off. And if the tension gets off, you're going to have issues. You're going to have bird nesting. You're going to have skip stitches. You're going to have breakage. You're going to have everything. So the first thing I would do is check and make sure that your uh, needles are threaded correctly. Your thread is in there correctly. Check it. Check that first. If that's okay, then the next thing that I would do is check under um, my needle plate to make sure that's cleaned out real good. Because I had some skipping, and I had no idea. I had some timing error, and I was doing this big project. And I said, what in the world is going on? I'm having all this uh, stitch skipping and timing error kept it. And then I finally decided to take it off. I actually Googled because I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I Googled and they said check underneath the needle plate. And that it was so much lint and thread and junk up under there. It was I could have sewn a sweater. it was it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I think I took a picture. I had no idea it was so dirty under there. That's why it was messing up because you got to keep that thing clean. And ever since then, I keep that puppy clean. So you don't have that. So if you're having timing errors, and even with the bird nesting, that could be it. So you got to go sequence looking at what is causing your problems. So the threading, how your needle is threaded, is is it clean under the throat plate, under the needle plate. Then change your needle. It could very well be a dull needle, a bent needle, a chipped needle. Change your needle. And once you do all those things, usually that issue goes away. It's not that complicated. So that's what I want to say. So I'm backing off of that 500 hours. So y'all forgive me for that because, like I said, I stated what I had heard and what I have experienced in this embroidery history is that sometimes you get misinformation from people that are quote unquote licensed repair technicians. They don't always give you all of the real information. They may have their information mixed up or whatever. Maybe he meant 50 hours. I don't know. Because I read my manual. Now, the manual does not say how often to change your needles because it can't tell you that because they don't know how much stitching you're doing. But it did say to oil your needle bar felt every 40 to 50 hours. That much I know is a fact because it's in the book. Every 40 to 50 hours, you need to oil the felt on your needle bar. As we know, we oil down in the bobbin area every day. Now, there are times when I have oiled it and then I stitch maybe one little simple something all day long, nothing big, nothing, tens of thousands of stitches. And the next day, I may not oil it again because I didn't really do anything with that machine. But usually, if I'm working that day on some projects before the day is over with, I probably will oil it because I say, yeah, I've been using this machine for a while. I need to go ahead and oil it. So I don't normally skip a day without oiling my machine. And I do change my needles frequently, very frequently. I don't do that 500-hour thing. Um, I do know people that won't change their needles unless they're beaten over the head. They have to change it. There's no way around it. I'm not like that. If I think there's one little possibility it's a needle that's causing an issue, I change it. The other thing that I did not know, but it is in the manual, I was listening to Betsy Thompson at Power Tools and Thread, and she mentioned that brother embroidery machines are set up to use organ needles. I didn't know that because I use organ mostly, and I use Smiths sometimes. So I have both. I did not know that it was set up for organ, but I was reading the manual, and let me see if I can't find where it says that because that surprised me. Uh, she mentioned it, and it turned out to be true. So there are certain people that you can actually listen to and believe. Okay, here it is. It's under in my book. It's on page 176, and it has replacing the needle, and it has in bold writing caution. Now they're telling you to turn your machine off before you replace the needle. I've never done that. They said otherwise injuries may result if the machine starts embroidering. Now I've never done that. My machine has not started to embroider, but I guess it could. So it does. It is recommended by your manual. See, it is the operator manual, and I'm reading it on page 176, and it says it also says your machine R1055 PR1055X. Your machine is designed to use household embroidery needles. What that means is it's the flat needles, the one that has the flat edge. The ones that are round are considered commercial needles. The ones that are flat are considered household. And that's because you can also use it in a regular single needle machine. So we can use it in our multi-needle machine as well as our single needle machine, the flat needle. And it says the factory recommended needle is HAX 130 EBBR organ needles. Let me read that again. The factory recommended needle is HAX 130 EBBR organ. Now, if you look at your organ needles, that's what's on there. Now, it does say Smith's needles 130/705 H-E may be used as a substitute. Now, that is in the manual. I never knew that. Becky Thompson was the first person that I heard say this, and obviously I had not read, but I'm reading it now, and I'm reading it to you. So I'm not an organ rep. I do use organ needles. And the book says to use organ needles. So I just wanted to pass that on to you. It also recommends disassembling and cleaning the tension unit, which I do not do. And I'm not going to do it unless I have to. But it does tells you to keep your machine clean. Um, so I got to definitely do better with that. It talks about oiling the needle bar. It tells you how to oil your machine. And it has on here, you can get a message that says preventive maintenance is recommended. Once this message appears, it is recommended to take your machine to your nearest authorized brother dealer for a regular maintenance check. Although this message will disappear and the machine will continue to function once you touch OK. The message will display several more times until the appropriate maintenance is performed. Please take the time to arrange for the maintenance that your machine requires once this message appears. Such steps will help to ensure you receive continued, uninterrupted hours of machine operation for the future. Now, I've never had that happen before. I have read on Facebook where someone did get that message, and something was told to them to do, and they went in the back and they turned the knob on the big knob that's in the back. Somebody recommended that they go back there and do that, whatever, and they did it and it went away. I don't know what the results of that is, if that was the right thing to do, but according to your manual, it says for you to call a repair person to come and see about your machine. And what that means to me is that there's something in the inside of the machine that needs attending to, which may very well mean it needs oiling in the inside, or maybe there's some parts in the inside that is wearing out, or something along that line. So um, don't discard or disregard that message, because obviously it's important. Um, There was something else that I wanted to say about that. Um, Let me see what some of the statements maybe we can. Um, Marina, you said the dust that collects up there is always crazy. I need a small vacuum. Every time my husband steps into this little room here, he complains about the dust on my machines. So, I mean, he's one of those. So, anyway, no dust, none of that, and I really, really, really need to do a better job. I know, but I'm not really wanting to put no cover over my machine because I'm constantly on it. That just don't. I don't know. Um, just learn how to get the other needles to release. Okay. And so, Becky, you just bought a vacuum for that one thing, and you haven't used it yet. So go ahead and use it. And you got it from Amazon. I got mine from Amazon as well. And Carol, you said there's a pattern for a cover for these machines. It is okay to tell which Facebook group and how to find it. The link was too long for a comment. Yes, it is. It's fine. I don't have a problem with you telling that. Also, I don't know about the pattern. I do know that you can have covers made. There's a store on Amazon. Don't know what it is. If you just put in there cover for your uh, sewing machine or your embroidery machine, that should pop up. And this person makes covers for single needle machines, multi needle machines, covers for your thread uh, your thread, where it's thread cases and all that kind of stuff. So if you don't want to make it yourself, but a pattern where you can get some plastic and sew that stuff together, I like that. So Carol, yes, you are more than welcome to put that on there. And Anne, you say you clean your long arm after 2 quilts and you oil. I oil my embroidery machine and clean in after one project. So many machines to clean. And and you talk about the bird nest, yes. And Leslie, you got the bird nest kit from Madam So, and you use it on multiple needles and single needle machines. And Marissa, what did you say? I thought I saw. And then you say you can use can air for your thread on the wall. Okay. That I did not know. That's a thought. That's not bad. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Okay. So that's a good, you're not, well, I don't know if there's anything, no, that's okay. I don't think there's an issue with that. Use the can air on your thread that you have on your wall to get the dust off of that. That I like that idea. I really do. That's pretty cool. So I think it was all. Like with the tension, those big tension knobs, I'm not touching those things unless I have to, because I don't want to have to readjust my tension when my maintenance guy adjusted it and stitched it out, and he said everything was fine and it's stitching fine. I'm not going to do that, even though dust can accumulate up under there and it can cause some issues. So it just depends upon what's going on with your machine. If you're having some stitching issue with your machine and you want to just kind of do your investigation and deep diving and figure out what's causing these problems, if you've tried every trick under the book that we've talked about and that's not working, maybe you do need to clean out from under the big knobs, tension knobs up at the top, and it tells you in the book how to take it apart and how to do it. Now it's seven. What I got? 7 parts that comes with that tension, and you have to make sure that you put all 7 parts back together in the right order. It's in the book. That's another reason why I don't want to do it, because knowing me, I'm going to drop something and I can't find it, or I won't remember which order it was that it came off, and I haven't figured out how to get it to go back and what have you and all that stuff. So, no, I'm not doing it unless I have to. That's just me. I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just telling you what I'm not going to do. And hopefully I don't have to eat my words. But I just don't I don't feel comfortable with it. I put it that way. I do not want to um take it apart and that's just much. That's just too much. That's just too much. I don't want to do that if I don't have to. So anybody having any questions or anything that about what I showed you and what I talked about, and like I said, that is pretty much what I do, and I do it routinely. Um, yeah. So that 500 hours for the needle thing, just scratch that, scratch that part out. Scratch that. You guys hear me in Facebook and YouTube land? Scratch that part out. I can put a link um, in the community page on my channel of the guy that I listened to that mentioned the 500 hours if you guys are interested. Now, he did go through changing that knife, that stationary knife. He showed how to do that as well. I'm not going to mess with that either. Hopefully, I won't have to. Good night, Ann. Good night. Thank you. Hopefully, I won't have to worry about anything like that. So I'm not going to to do that. And I think that's pretty much the only thing that's different than what I talked about. He did mention about where he showed you how to correct your sensor for your um, hoop sizes if that gets off kilter. So he went over a lot of things over and above routine maintenance, in my opinion. And um, again, as far as I'm concerned, unless I have an issue with those kinds of things, I'm not going to really entertain it. And my thing would be to call a trustworthy technician and get advice before touching anything over and above the routine maintenance that we all know how to do. Now, I do have a single needle brother machine. It's a SE 1900. And the main thing that I want, it talks about the maintenance is very little. Um, It says never use a bobbin case that is scratched. Otherwise, the upper thread may become tangled, the needle may break, or the sewing performance may suffer. For a new bobbin case, contact your brother authorized service center. Be sure the bobbin case is correctly installed, otherwise the needle will break. So that's a caution about your single needle. It talks about how to put your bobbin in and so forth and so on, which we know. Um, Also, with both machines, the LCD panel, they just recommend that you wipe it clean. Just keep it wiped off. You don't put any kind of harsh detergent, abrasive detergents, or anything like that. And even for the machine itself, wipe it off or get a damp towel. They says bring it out really, really well so it's not wet. You don't want it wet, drippy wet. You just want it damp, and you can wipe down your machine. That's the only recommendation they have. No harsh detergents or anything like that. And that would be for either one, your single needle, your multi needles, or what have you. Um, there was one thing, what it said, that I do want to stress because I have had or have heard where people have actually taken their machine off, the covers off. I've seen videos where people have taken the covers off their machine and you see the inside of their machine. It is so highly recommended that you don't do that. Don't do that. Do not void the warranty of your machine. Don't do that. Um, they recommend you unplug your machine every time you do any kind of cleaning or anything like that. And I know that is for um, legal purposes because they don't want you to get electrocuted and then somebody sues the company. Restriction on oiling. This is what I was trying to come up with. Um, and this is what is stated in the manual for my single needle machine. It says, in order to prevent damaging this machine, it must not be oiled by the user. Now, I know somebody that has done this, has opened up that machine and did their own oiling because they watched their technician do it or whatever, whatever. I don't know, but they felt comfortable in doing that. The book says, in order to prevent damaging this machine, it must not be oiled by the user. This machine was manufactured with the necessary amount of oil applied to ensure correct operation, making periodic oiling unnecessary. If problems occur, such as difficulty turning the hand wheel or an unusual noise, immediately stop using the machine and contact your authorized brother dealer or the nearest brother authorized service center. In other words, call your repair man. That's what I wanted to point out in as far as your single needle machine. because the single needle machine is a lot easier. We don't do any oiling on there. We change the needle. We keep the bobbin area clean. We keep the thread from twisting up. And when you change your thread, we all should be aware, you snip it at the top and you pull it through from the bottom. You don't pull it back from the top. You can get all of your timing and everything out of whack. Always, when you change your thread, snip it at the top and pull your thread out through the bottom when you're getting ready to switch your thread colors. Now you can, I don't know if this is recommended, but I've seen it done where you can tie your threads and pull it through just like you do your big needle if you want to, or you don't have to do the rethreading. Now, I tried that and it didn't work for me. It just did not work for me. And the machine is so easy to rethread. I just said it's not worth the hassle. Just go ahead and zoop, zoop, zoop and thread it and move on. The one thing that I have an issue with my single needle machine is keeping the automatic threader worker. Right at this particular moment, it ain't working. And when it stopped clowning, I'll probably go over there and try to use it over here and try to use it, and it'll work. I don't know why that happens that way, but my machine has not been serviced since I've had it 3 years now. So I know it's ready to be serviced, and hopefully when I get it serviced, they'll fix the threader and everything will be fine. Um, the needle threader on the big machine, where is it? Back here. I've had it fixed since I've had my machine. Matter of fact, I had just got my machine. I have no idea what happened, but it would not work. And I took it in, and whatever they did was so simple, quick, and easy. We waited on the machine. Told They said, "Come on in at this particular time." Me and my son, we got it, took it in. The man took it in the back. Boom, 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 bam. And we walked around looking around at in the store, drooling over the luminaire and all of that kind of stuff. And I mean, we weren't in there over an hour. I don't think it was over an hour. And the machine was ready, and we took it back with us. So whatever the situation was, it's not a big deal to repair the threader. And because it was under warranty, there was no cost. So that was not an issue. So I do know that people have stated that they've had issues with the automatic threader. I did see a video, I didn't watch it, where it says, shows you how to change that threader. I would not recommend you do that without talking to your technician. That's all I have to say on that one. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm pretty sure it is quite simple to do, but I definitely would make sure. I wouldn't watch a video and then just go try to do it. I would have to have some guidance by someone that knows what they're doing. Um, Drooling is not good. Drooling doesn't bother me because drooling don't put money in my pocket to get the machine. So I just dream over it and drool over it and keep on walking. Ain't nothing else I can do at this particular moment. I can't do anything but drool. And then you say you have the NQ170E and Brother Innovis 4000D and PRS 100, and you keep them all covered with cotton. What is that? Cotton King. Where did you go? You keep them all covered with cotton king size pillowcases when you're using your long. Okay. And Evelyn, you said, I've never oiled my machine, but know a lot of my friends that do. Okay. And Evelyn, you said, my flatbed machine just stopped working the thread. Mine, it's not working, and I don't know why. And I'm not happy. So far, my eyeballs are working still well enough for me to thread the needle. So I'm still able to use it. But I do know that I wanted to go back to working, and hopefully, and it needs servicing. And Ann says that luminaire is something. Oh yeah, that luminaire is something. The luminaire and the Solaris, child, child, child. I'm just gonna tell you, if I had either one of those machines, I would be in embroidery heaven right now. With my 10 needle machine and my luminaire, hmm I would be in embroidery heaven. That's all I got to say. I would be one happy, happy sister. And maybe if it's the Lord's will, it'd be a way for it to occur. Miracles do happen. That's all I can say. Miracles do happen. So maybe one day I'll be able to sit here and say, guess what I have? But I'm not anticipating that to be anything that's going to happen anytime soon. But you never know. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that I shared this information with all of you guys about maintaining your machine maintenance. I did a video a while back, a couple of years ago, about maintenance on your machine and stuff. And I do know that we get new people uh, coming and going into the embroidery arena that watches my channel, and I wanted to make sure that they get information. And I try to give as much accurate information as possible because I do go back and look up in the manual to see what the manual says. I also try to listen to experts to see what they say. And like I said, I'm a little embarrassed about that 500-hour situation because I was following what I thought was something that was said. And then again, the more I thought about it, I was like, that don't sound right. 500 hours is a lot of time. That's a lot of time. I had my machine serviced in April, I believe. This is December, and I've only put 170 some odd hours since then. And I've changed my needle several times since then. So no, that 500 hours. Maybe he meant 50. Maybe that's what he meant. Maybe he meant 50. I don't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he meant 50 because that sounds a little bit more realistic because that could be a week's worth of work. So, um, and you're welcome, Evelyn, for I do appreciate that you appreciate the information that I'm sharing. And Marissa, you said your threader stopped working one time and your son came over and fixed it. He showed me how to fix it. There's a small piece of wire that has to be in the center. Okay. I'm gonna have to look and see if that is something that looks plausible. My son will be here for Christmas, so if I haven't figured it out by Christmas, maybe I have. He's very mechanically inclined. He was at aircraft mechanic in the Marines, so he is what did I say? Mechanically inclined. So maybe he'll be able to look at it and say, all you gotta do is move this over, or it's whatever the situation is. Because right now, um, it's not working or it hasn't worked, and I've been just doing the threading it on my own, which is okay. That's what I did all my life until I got this machine. So now, as long as the big machine in the back keeps threading, even though it stopped and I threaded it as well, I do love that convenience where I don't have to actually thread it, but you know, as long as the machine works, that's the most important thing. I was listening to a radio guy, DJ or whatever, if that's what they're called, radio hosts, I guess. And he was talking about his affirmation for today was to be grateful. And so I'm grateful, and that's my machine's name, Grateful. I am grateful for my machine. And if whatever stop, as long as it keeps working, all of the bells and whistles stuff, I am not gonna cry over as long as it keeps working. And good night, and you need to go night night, and you're more than welcome. Like I said, I do appreciate that you guys appreciate the stuff that I do because I do try to come up with something of interest and something that's useful that people can get something out of. And I did the video because I wanted to show you. I didn't want to just talk about it. I wanted to just show people where things were and how I do it. And again, I do apologize for some of the things that were out of focus. Hopefully, I'll do it a little bit better next time I do a video and try to see if it's in focus more clearly, back it up or whatever, and see. Marissa, you said it is so small, I had to see it with two flesh. Well, oh, that reminds me. I wanted to show you guys. This is something that my husband got me when I first got my embroidery machine. And what is this contraption, you say? It has a light. I think you can see the light. You actually can put, it's a magnifying glass. And you put it on, for me, I put it on over my glasses. And I can look at my needle and see how to thread it on my machine. And it is very helpful. Now, I put it over my glasses because I can't see diddly squat without my glasses. Now, and it does have a light. And I think the light has a battery to it. I think, I don't know. Yeah, something less than. I've not had to change it. But anyway, and it came with this case of lenses, which is good for those of us, whatever your vision is. You can select the best lens for your vision to put on this. Now, I didn't buy it. It was gifted to me by my husband. Now, I'm going to have to tell you about this dear man. He won't help me do diddly in this. Anything that has to do with embroidery, he ain't gonna help. He said, "That's your thing. That's your thing. I ain't got nothing to do with that thing. That's your thing." But every time I turn around, he buying me something, which I do appreciate. He listens. He listens. I mentioned the fact that I was having issue with my camera and stuff. Next thing I know, I got this webcam that works wonders. Um, I do have another screen. I mentioned the fact that I wanted to do dual screen, which I haven't used it for you guys yet, but I do have it now because I wanted to be able to show you stuff. Like if I wanted to go to a website or something and I wanted to show you that website, I can do screen sharing. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I can do screen sharing. He got me that. He got me those things for my eyes. He got me the offset screwdriver and just various things just because he hears me talking. And the next thing I know, here I got you some. Here I got you some. And I was like, I just want you to pay attention to the stuff that I do and get involved in that or get excited about it. That's your thing. That's your thing. I don't do it. He's so funny. So funny. But I do appreciate the fact that he does do that. And he pays attention. That's all I can say on that. And that's good. Um Marissa, you said that's what I need. Where did you get it from, please? And Robin said, you need those. I think, okay, Marissa, I found it on Amazon. It's very affordable. Going to order one tonight. Thank you for sharing. And I was just going to say, I think that's where he got it from Amazon. And because Leslie, I think you said that you had some as well. So I'm pretty sure that's where it came from Amazon. So go get you a pair of eyes. And I use it. I use it. Uh, Whenever I get to the point, I don't use it all the time because I don't have to all the time. But there are times when I cannot see that needle to save my neck. And I use it to change my needles, not so much thread it because I have a threader. But when I'm using it, I use it to change my needles because sometimes when the eyes ain't working too good, I just can't see it. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Then I grab it, put it on, and then actually when I do that, I take these off and I get close and I can see what I'm doing. So um, I think you'll like it if you get it. And Robin, you say he's a keeper. Yeah, he's a keeper. Sometimes I be wanting to. Anyway, I ain't gonna say that. But he's a sweetheart. He is. I will definitely give him credit to the fact that he pays attention. And he tells me I don't pay attention to him because I can't never think of what to get him. But he doesn't have a hobby or a hustle or whatever you want to call it. What I do. So it's hard to come up with, and he's picky about his clothes, and because he used to work in the clothing industry. He worked at Saks, and he worked at Armani, and he worked at Ben's, where he did all that stuff. He dressed nice and wore the suits and do all that kind of stuff. So I can't just go out to Walmart and get him a shirt and hand it to him. He's gonna look at me like I lost my mind. So I'm like, I don't like buying him clothes and stuff like that because I know he's picky about his stuff. So I'm picky about mine too, but he doesn't really buy me clothes, which is great because I prefer to get my own clothes. But he does buy me little stuff in my office. You guys may have seen this on the air. I forgot to turn it on. He bought that for me. He said, "Yeah, here's this thing, and you need to put it on. You on the air." That's okay, whatever. So when he gives me something, I try to use it, and I do that. He gonna look at this video, so he gonna be mad at me because he will watch my videos too. But anyway, he does these little things for me, and I do appreciate it very much so. I just wish I could get him to get more involved in the embroidery part as well. But he does listen. That's all I can say. He pays attention and he listens. So that part is really sweet. Um, Leslie, Robin, Becky, who else is on here? That is part of the sew along. We are getting close to the home. So Marina, we are getting close to the home stretch. We have 2 more weeks. We have tomorrow night. Uh, well, yeah, not counting tomorrow night. We have, yeah, counting tomorrow night. We have 2 more weeks. We have tomorrow night and the 13th. That's it. So we have tomorrow night and next Wednesday, and that's it. So we will be done with this year's sew along. And four of us are done with our skirts, 3 skirts. And then the rest of you guys have to get done with it kind of soon. And Becky, you say you're sewing yours as we speak. Mentioning thumbs up. Y'all give me a thumb up now. Okay. I got my thumbs up. I forgot to put that on there. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I definitely need the thumbs up. Um, Give me the thumbs up. That, as you know, I tell you all the time, is very important for my channel to stay afloat. and I want to grow. I am growing, but your comments, your subscription, your thumbs up, your sharing, your notification, all of those things are very, very uh, um, appreciative. I do take super stickers, super chats, super thanks. I also have membership. So those things are also important as well. If you feel that I presented or I do anything that is useful to you guys, it is definitely acceptable to do super chats, super thanks, super supers. So appreciate that. And join my membership. I do want to do some really cool things with members, but I need to get the memberships to grow so we can kind of develop this process with members only. That's what I want to do. So the more we get, the more I'll be able to do some things with members only. So I just want to put that out there to people in Facebook land, YouTube land, anybody that's on here that's not even participating in the chat, because I know there are people that do watch that don't participate in the chat, because I always know that when I get off of here and look at their analytics, then I realize that there have been people watching that didn't say anything, and I do appreciate you watching, so that's okay. You don't have to participate in the chat, even though I would love for you to do so. So Leslie, you say you pieced your back. Oh, you pieced your backing yesterday, and you have to. I have the file to embroider the label, and you made your own binding, and you will see how it works, and you will sew it tomorrow. Okay, good. So that is going to be um, that process, and then Robin, I have to take three of your panels off because they're in the wrong order. As long as it's not the Santa Claus and the reindeer, then it doesn't matter what order it's in because you can put it in whatever order you want to, as long as you have those panels with the Santa Claus and the reindeer. That's the only one that she says, which makes sense, that you have to keep in order because you want Santa Claus and the reindeer to be just flowing as it's supposed to. But everything else, you can put it on it however you want to. I did mine. Remember, Taisha um, did a story with her, starting off with church and the train and on and on and on. She did a story. She put hers together. And okay, you said no, but my presents are supposed to go green, red, green. Okay, you messed it up. Okay, that you wanted to do it how you want to do it. That's fine. So I understand what you're saying. You did that because I did do mine every other color. Um, I got ambitious. I had what I got. I got blue, red, green, and gold. No, blue, red, green. Yeah, blue, red, green, and gold. Those are the four. So I got ambitious. I used four different colors for my gifts. But I'm done. I'm done. My skirt is sitting around my Christmas tree. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, the other thing, don't forget to get pictures to me. Marina, I have your pictures. Thank you very much. Don't forget to get pictures to me when you're done because I want to do the show and tell. For those of you that are interested in seeing our work, what we've done for the past 10 weeks now? No, 8 weeks. Past 8 weeks. Um, we got 2 more weeks to go. Well, 1 more week to go this week and next week. So this will be the ninth week. You want to see what we did and what it looked like. And trust and believe me, these skirts are beautiful. They are absolutely gorgeous. We're going to do the show and tell. I'm going to do the show and tell on the 19th. So that is the Tuesday before Christmas. That's the plan. The Tuesday before Christmas will be the show and tell, and that's the 19th. So you guys get a chance to see our work, what we've done. And I know you're going to enjoy it because it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to do um, PowerPoint slide presentation. Each person will have their own page with their pictures of their skirt and whatever little narrative that they want to add to that. And I will show everybody what we've done. Oh, don't know what that was all about. Hi, Simone. How you doing? Thanks for stopping in. We're still here. We'll be here for a few more minutes, but thank you for stopping. And Robin, you say your husband says no one will notice because it's in the back, and if you don't mention it, which is true, which is true. And Marissa, you said that went by fast. I remember when you were talking about doing the skirt. Well, we started the 11th of October, believe it or not. And this is now the 6th of December. Time flies. It flies. We didn't do anything the week of Thanksgiving. So this really would be week 10, but it's actually week 9 for us because we skipped a week because of Thanksgiving. And so roughly 2 months, that's what we've been doing for 2 months. And we knew it was going to take this length of time because it's a lot of work. But we're just about done. So we'll be talking about doing some more projects next year. And those of you that are interested, I hope you will be wanting to do a sew along. And I saw somebody say stitch along, and I like that better because although we're stitching and sewing. So it really doesn't matter whether it's stitch along or sew along, but I think I want to call it stitch along. And come stitch along with Shirley. We're going to do some more next year. I want to do at least 3, and we can have quite a few more people. We started off with 9. We ended up with 7. A couple of people had issues and they couldn't continue. And so hopefully the next one we do, we can have up to 20 maybe. Who knows? The more the merrier because we have learned a lot. We shared a lot. We laughed a lot. We complained a lot. And but it's all been fun, and we've shared how to do this, how to do that, suggestions. We talked about the different notions that we have and where we got them from and what we use them for and so forth and so on. So it has been very, very helpful and enjoyable, I think, to everybody that has participated. So the door will be open again for another Stitch Along coming up soon, sometime after the first of the year. I'm thinking about the latter part of January, the first part of February. However, I do need suggestions as to what do you want that next stitch along to be. Now, one suggestion has been a table runner, which is certainly a good suggestion. Hopefully, we can come up with more so we can have a selection of things. The only suggestion that I have towards the latter part of the year, I want to do an advent calendar. I know Design by Juju has a really cute advent calendar that I think would be a good project for us to do. We don't have to, excuse me, we don't have to wait until coming up to Christmas to do it, but it's something that I would like to do eventually. Now, as you're out here buying your designs and looking at your different design sites where you buy things, I know most of us buy stuff from Design by Juju, and she has wonderful things. Most of us buy stuff from Embroidery Library and Urban Thread. They have beautiful things. And there are other sites out there. Creative Kiwi has lots of projects. And there's, what is that? I can't think of it right now. But there are other design sites out there that may um, that have nice projects and stuff that we might want to look at and decide we want to do this as a group again. And let me see what somebody is saying. Carol, you said can't wait to see your amazing make so much work. Yeah, it was a lot of work. So the 19th. And Leslie, you say you took a picture of the nativity tree skirt sewn together without the back and it unfinished. My friend was amazed at how good my embroidery was. Ta-da. And you're the photographer, so I'm sure it looks really, really nice. And Marissa, you said, I like the stocking you made in the hoop. Well, thank you. They were fun. They were really, really fun. I had fun doing those. Once I once I got the doggone thing to open, last week I showed you guys. I think I had it here. I put it in the trash. I made this. It was so cute and everything, and I couldn't get the thing open at the top. And I know what I did wrong. I and I left that information out of my video. I had to write something in there. I was so doggone mad that I realized that I said it. I just didn't hit the doggone record button. And I just knew that I had recorded that information because I was talking about how important it was to make sure that you didn't put it up too high, because when it's one part that if you put it up too high, it'll get stitched closed, and that's what happened. So you got to put it in the correct spot. And because this was fuzzy, I couldn't really see the positioning line the first time. So that's how I messed up. That's exactly what I did. I realized what the mess up was. And so the rest of them I did, and I had a good time with it. They were fun, and they turned out so cute. I was so happy with how they turned out. Um, I thought they were cute, and the size was fine. The size was fine. And Marissa, you said maybe start in July. Well, actually, I don't want to wait until July to start. We can do one in July, but I want to do something earlier because, like I said, I would like to do at least 3 stitch-alongs next year as a group. So the one in July could be the second one. Then we can probably do one maybe in September or so. Do one in February or March or whatever. Um, so that's my thought process to do, and to put it all together and move down the line because it's several weeks. Depending upon what we choose, it could be the same length of time as this one, which was 10 weeks. And 10 weeks is 2.5 months. So 2.5 months, 2.5 months, 2.5 months. The year is over with. So, but anyway, we can think about it. And Simone, you said I can't wait to see you guys' hard work. I do appreciate it that you guys are hoping to see it because I'm gonna show you guys what we did, and I'm quite pleased. I'm quite pleased with everybody's work because I've seen some of everybody's work, and it is absolutely gorgeous because that's what we do. We show what we've done and critique and talk about it and laugh and have a good time and all of that kind of stuff. So it has been a good time. Anybody else that wants to join, please think about joining because it is fun and it is a good time to do that. And because I do it on Zoom, we can have many, many more people than what we ended up with. And even though we say from 7 to 9, child, we be on at 11 o'clock at night sometimes just talking, working and talking. If you got time, I got time. It's no big deal because that 11 o'clock evening time is dedicated to the stitch along. So anyway, that is what we've been doing. So I know I see a lot of people that are dropping off, which I understand because it is getting to that 10 o'clock hour, and I do need to check on my daughter to see how she's doing. If she's still awake, she's probably asleep by now. because she did take some pain medicine and everything. And she said she was going to try to wait till I got done. And Marissa, you said December the 19th, I will have the kids picked up early and have my choice. There you go. This is Blackberry Stella Rosa. This is now my new favorite wine. I really love this taste. It's not very sweet. It just tastes like blackberries. That's all. If you like blackberries, you'll like that wine. So I like the blackberry and I like the blueberry, but I still like my sweeter wine because this is not very sweet. My daughter said she didn't like it because she said it tastes too much like red wine. She didn't like it. It wasn't sweet enough for her, but it's just fine for me. I do like it a lot. So it is now 10 o'clock, and I think it is time for us to say good night for tonight. I will see you guys. That's part of the Stitch Along tomorrow night. It's the Lord's will. And everybody else next Tuesday. And Robin, you said you're gonna have to try it. Try it. Try it. See if you like it. So let's say good night. I'm going to go in here and check on my daughter, and then I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys for stopping in, supporting me. Give me that thumbs up. Please don't forget the thumbs up. I do appreciate it, and thank you so much, and good night, everybody. Bye-bye.